We wouldn't answer James's question, though. Are you going to answer the question?
Okay, guys, check this out. It got brutal today at the briefing, especially after Kirby refused to answer. This room completely turned on Karine.
The president's claim during the 2020 campaign and the reaffirmations of that claim by his two press secretaries since then, that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with him?
No, and I'm not going to comment further on this.
James,
I am not going to address this.
You going to answer the question? It's not an unreasonable question to ask, but the President of the United States was involved, as this message seems to suggest, in some sort of a coercive conversation for business dealings by his son. Is that something, if he wasn't, then maybe you should tell us.
Oh!
So here's the thing, and I appreciate the question. I believe my colleague at the White House Counsel has answered this question already, has dealt with this, has made it very clear. I just don't have anything to share outside of what my colleagues have shared, and so I would refer you to him and the DOJ. Just not going to comment from here.
Text message.
And now the room starts jumping in and turning on her.
What I can tell you is I know that my colleague has dealt with this. He addressed this at the White House Counsel. I just don't have anything else to share. I just answered the question. I just answered the question.
No, you didn't. Yes or no? Was the president involved in the shakedown attempt?
Stephen, I just answered the question. It's not up to you how I answer the question. I just answered the question by telling you my colleagues at the White House Counsel has dealt with this, and I would refer you to them. Go ahead.
So after losing her temper a bit, she tries to quiet the room by calling specifically on somebody. That didn't work either.
Can you just remind us what your colleague said from the White House Counsel?
Oh!
So we have it.
I would refer you to them, and they will share their statement with all of you.
My question is about your statements from that podium. You stated that the president stands by his comment from the 2020 campaign that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with his son. And you stood at that podium and you reaffirmed that.
Oh!
Do you stand by your reaffirmation?
What I will say is nothing has changed. Nothing has changed, and I will leave it there. Anything else, I will refer you to the White House Counsel.
This is not a change?
Oh!
I just answered the question. You just asked me, does my statement change? I just told you nothing has changed. That's answering the question. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The president was there 2 days
Go ahead,
prior.
Stephen. I'm calling on your colleague right now. Go ahead.
Thank you. To follow up on my colleague.
Well, that didn't work.
To follow up on my colleague, is there anything that you can say with regard to this text message and what the president's son was alleging? Was the president there or not?
I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House Counsel. They have addressed this, and I refer you to them.
I have never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses, period.
To be honest, since she knew this question was going to come up today, she should have just walked out to the podium and said this.
Hi, good night, everybody.